ask me, I don't know why she out running at night. I just don't get it. I still just don't get it. You just saw a whole human being in the attic, and you had maggots coming out of a portrait. I don't know why you out running at night by yourself. But what's up, y'all? What is up? And welcome back to my channel. My name is EJ. I'm the host of the podcast Strictly Opinionated. And today, y'all, we are going to be recapping and reviewing the movie Master. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. So this movie is an Amazon released movie. It was released on March the 18th of this year. It stars Regina Hall and Zoe Renee. Now, the movie is written and directed by the same person. Unfortunately, I cannot say their name. I mean, I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not even going to try. So I'm just going to leave some text here, and you can, interpret it however you want to interpret it, because I have no clue how to say it. So y'all, the movie starts out with the Regina Hall's character, whose name is Gail Bishop. She is a professor, and she is the new black headmaster of Belleville Hall. And keep in mind that she is also the first black headmaster at the college, period. So she's coming into a unique experience as something that is completely new to this school. And then Zoe, who is a freshman, she's entering into a predominantly white school where she's a handful of a few black students that attend the school there as well. So the movie kind of goes parallel between these characters. So they are the primary focus. However, the way that it was created is that you're seeing Jasmine's story, and then you're seeing Gail's story, and they're kind of just going back and forth in between their experiences. So when Jasmine first gets to the college, she's immediately met with, students who tell her where her room is. They find out that her room is room 302, and they immediately are like, okay, she has the room, that's the haunted room, because, this is an old school. The school is filled with stories and all types of things. So, of course, they are going to tell her about how her room was haunted, but they don't immediately go into what happens at this room. So she doesn't actually know why they're reacting this way. So as she gets into the room, she's going to meet her new roommate, Amelia, who is also a freshman at the college as well. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to hit it off immediately, but they are going to be cool and cordial with each other. What's interesting about this is that from the very jump, you're met with a lot of like the character Jasmine has to deal with a lot of microaggressions from, the people that she's hanging out with. And it's just like, okay, like, are they real, or do they just not know that they're doing this, or are they doing it on purpose? You can't really tell. You really don't know. So anywho, so that's kind of like her take of where she's at right now. Meanwhile, the professor is trying to get settled into her new home there on campus. And she's kind of, okay, so they throw this party, and she's kind of being met with some of the, I guess you would say, some of the similar things as well, because you have to keep in mind that this is a school that is rooted in their ways, and they're trying to become diverse, and they're trying to be more culturally acceptance of other, they're trying to make their school more diverse, basically, which is the reason why they have the new headmaster as a black woman, not only black. So one of the first things that I noticed about the movie is that when Jasmine's character goes into the cafeteria, and there's this black woman that's behind the counter, serving everyone. And as all of the white students come up, she's like, yeah, she's just really nice to him, and she's all yada, yada, yada. And then when Jasmine comes up, she just basically like slops that food on there. She doesn't even say anything to her. It's just so weird. So it's like, okay, like what just happened? Like, I'm not really sure what just happened. So that's like one of the first things that you notice. And then another thing that you notice in the movie is that Jasmine goes to the library to get some books. And when she goes to the library to get these books, she's leaving and the alarm goes off on the books. And she's like, that happened to me last time. And then the lady asks her to come back. And she takes all of her books out and she gives them to her. And then the lady asks to see her bag. And she's all like, I'm sorry, like I didn't want to, but I just have to. So she asks to see her bag. Of course, there's nothing in the bag. And she goes on about her business. But I'm saying all of this to say that they point that this movie, when you first initially maybe look at the trailer and things like that, you're looking at it like it's going to be a thriller and like it is like a horror film or something about or a supernatural story. But as you start to kind of take in the movie and digest it a little bit, you see that there are a lot of racial undertones to the movie, and it becomes heavily focused on that. So that's just one of the things that that I noticed just from these few scenes that I've seen so far. Weird. So she finds out this whole thing about the room 302 and how the first black undergraduate that was there, actually the roommate found her hanging in the room. So that's kind of where this whole story comes from. Now, if you see, all right, so we're going to be introduced to another character as well. I think we've already been introduced to her, but it wasn't worth mentioning earlier. But now it's worth mentioning. So there is another professor there, another black professor there, Professor Blackman, but she likes to be called Liv. And it seems like she has this thing against the freshman, against Jasmine. It's like when Jasmine was answering questions in class, it's kind of like she was dismissive of her argument that she was, that her point that she was making. But then when a white student said something, she was very accepting of that. It's almost like she was way more harsher on her than she was her. It was a kind of a weird situation to see this unfold. But then later, you're going to see that she's going to grade her paper and she's going to give her an F on this paper. And then you're also going to see where Jasmine starts to read the other girl's paper who ended up getting a B+, and she was like, oh, that paper was easy, da, 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 yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's reading her paper and you can tell right then, just from the way that it is read, the way that her demeanor changes, that paper was probably not as good as hers, but they really don't harp on it a whole lot. Anywho, moving on. Let's talk about some of the stuff that keeps happening at the home of the professor. So meanwhile, and I'm talking about the headmaster, Gail. So meanwhile, she has all of these weird things that's going on in her home. She's come across these maggots, just a lot of little weird noises that she hears, like just all these different things. And y'all, I'm just like, if I'm hearing all this stuff, if I can, I'm out. Like, if I can go, I'm going. I mean, some of the stuff that she was experiencing was like, girl, why are you even still there? What is going on? Like, I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. But, nevertheless, call from this one day she gets a call from this lady named Esther Baker, and she wants to talk about her daughter named Elizabeth. But at the moment, the professor is having an issue and she doesn't have time to listen to her because she hears some noises going on and some stuff going on in that house. So she kind of just blows it off, and for whatever reason, she loved this attic. I'm like, girl, stop going in this attic. What is wrong with you? It's an attic. Stay out of it. Like, I don't know what people's thing is with going to attics and basements. I'm not trying to go in no attic, and I am not trying to go in no doggone basement if I done heard something. I'm sorry. But nevertheless, she took herself up to that attic anyway, and then she sees something weird up there. I think she sees like somebody, can't remember exactly what it was, but she sees somebody up there, and then she sees more maggots. So I don't know, it's just crazy. So anyway, meanwhile, Jasmine is going to a party with Amelia, and when she gets to the party, the guy won't even let her in the party. Amelia has to come back and say that she's with her in order for him to even let her in the party. So mind you, he let both of the other two freshmen walk by and let them in, but he wouldn't let her into the party. And, you know, she's dancing and they're drinking and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden this song comes on and everybody just starts singing this song. Now, I honestly am unfamiliar with the song, so I can't really tell you what the name of the song was. But all I know is that, once again, keep in mind that she's probably the only black person that's at this party. And this song, all of a sudden, like, everybody's getting crunk and everything, and they're singing this song. But what's important is that in the song, instead of them passing over the N-word, they all decide to say it. So it was just a very awkward moment for the character Jasmine. She kind of has to get away, and she goes into this room by herself, and then this other character that we had met earlier, who Amelia calls herself liking, comes in, and you can tell that from the beginning, when we first met him in the beginning of the movie, that he kind of had this thing with Jasmine. I don't know if he was curious or what it was, but he just kind of had this thing. So anyway, he reaches in and he kisses her. Amelia walks in. Of course, she's, you know, not happy about it. So I'm just like, why, girl? Why did you kiss this dude? You know, this girl was not about to be happy about this. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, Jasmine decides to walk home. She decides to go home. So she goes home. She's walking from this party. I don't understand why everybody walking around in the dark. That's what I don't get. Like, why are y'all walking around in the dark at night? All these little things have already happened. Like, you're seeing stuff and all of this, but you're going to walk around at night in the dark. Okay, anyway, I digress. I apologize. So she's walking home, and of course something weird happens. Like, you see some shadow or something behind her, and then you see something in the room, because you can always see, you know, the room from the angle where the camera is. They're always showing her room. You see somebody up in that room, and then all of a sudden she just wakes up in the bed, and the headmaster is knocking on the door, and she's, you know, trying to see if she's okay. And when the reason why she's asking if she's okay is because on the door, someone has wrote the word leave, and they have a noose hanging around her door. Like, okay, really? So that happens. A thing that happens is, of course, Jasmine needs to find out more. So she goes to try to find out more about the room, and she finds these journals. And, you know, and the journals are just talking about different things. They kind of start out kind of happy, but then they kind of get kind of dark. And then at the same time, the professor is out running at night, y'all. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know why she out running at night. I just don't get it. I still just don't get it. You just saw a whole human being in the attic, you know, and you had maggots coming out of a portrait. I don't know why you out running at night by yourself, but whatever. She running at night by herself, y'all. And she comes across Amelia, who's some boys are running away, and she's out it's cold out. She knows something has happened, but Amelia is not really telling what happened. She tries to get her to go to the infirmary, but she won't go. Instead, Amelia decides to leave the school instead. So now Jasmine has lost her roommate, and now she's the only one in that room by herself. Alarms are flaring and they're going off, and come to find out, somebody has burned a doggone cross on the front lawn. Like, really? Burning a cross? Wow. So that has happened. Of course, the professor comes, tries to extinguish out the fire. But what's interesting is that at the same time that this is happening, it's showing the commercial or whatever the PSA, whatever it is that the college has created that they've been working on. It's playing kind of alongside of this scene where they're talking about inclusion and diversity and how the school is changing and all of this stuff. I am Ancaster College, and you have the black person, you have the white person, you have this, that, whatever. Anyway, they're showing all of these different things, and at the same time, somebody's as they're playing that clip to show you what the school had made, somebody's burning a cross on the lawn. So go figure that. But anywho, now we're kind of taken back to Jasmine's at the library, doing library stuff, and the library closes and she has to walk home alone. Here we go again. She always walking by herself at nighttime. I don't know what it is with her at nighttime and walking, but she walking across the campus. Again, she sees something weird and she takes off running. She tries to go to the professor's home, but she can't get into the professor's home. So she gets back into her dorm room, and she gets to her room. Something starts to jiggle on the door, and girl, she tried to get out that window, and then she slip and she fall, and bam, and she hurt. So the next scene that we see is the professor is beside her bed, trying to talk to her. The headmaster is beside her bed, trying to talk to her. And Jasmine is just like, I'm leaving. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's done. But the professor basically just lets her know that, not to run, and that, she has to stick it out, and that no matter where she goes, it's everywhere. And the professor is talking about racism, of course. Now, when she gets back to the school, she's met with old Professor Liv, Professor Liv, who gave her the bad grade and was harder on her. And they kind of have this moment, and she tells her, maybe she shouldn't come back. But she basically says right then, she realized that it's everywhere. So she goes back into her room, and oddly enough, that's the last time that we're going to see the character Jasmine. She's just going to, at that time, off herself, and the headmaster is going to find her hanging, and there's that. I mean, yeah. So the professor is sitting there, and she starts to notice these old pictures on the wall and the similarities of the current time as well. So these old pictures are very resemblance of the modern time now. And then one of the professors kind of gets up and says, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be here, or I'll be back," or something. I can't remember his exact words, but basically he's saying that he's not going anywhere. He's going to be there forever, pretty much. And so at that moment, she realizes that, nothing is ever going to change at that school. And so she gets up and she walks away. And then she is leaving, and on the little radio, you can hear like the campus police or something. You can hear something about a black female walking in the corridor, and he stops her and he asks her if she, can he see her ID if she works there? And she just says that she doesn't work there and that she was leaving, and then he shows her the exit. So basically she quits, and that's how the movie goes off. So, y'all. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. So, first of all, the movie. Okay, let me say this. So I think that the movie is actually I think it's a pretty good movie. I think that the concept, the idea, all of that, I think that it's a good watch. I definitely think that if you like the thriller type of movies, that you'll enjoy this. But I do need to put a strong disclaimer on this. This really is not. Like, they don't dive into the supernatural part of it all. Like, none of that stuff is ever explained to you. Like, you will leave this movie with no answers at all, which then makes me think that this is not really a supernatural movie at all. Like, maybe that was just some way of, like, them correlating this, or some deep metaphorical type of situation. I don't know, because it really is just a movie that that focuses on an unpleasant truth about, you know, things that still happen in society today, especially when you think about places that are predominantly white, or areas that don't have a lot of diversity and culture in them. So these are things that you still see that go on, you know, the microaggressions that was happening to, you know, the young lady that eventually ended up causing her to take her own life. Because it's never proven that something supernatural happened to her to make her take her to, you know, for her to be hung. It is simply, she is simply hanging, but we don't know if someone else did it. And that's what makes me believe that there was really no supernatural point to it, and that she committed suicide and she hung herself. And because of everything that was going on, you know, at the school, never really focused on this thing that we thought it was about. And I think that was pretty smart. I think it was a good way to present a real social issue in the form of a movie, and keep people engaged in the movie, and keep them wondering what's going on, what's happening, and really get them to talking about the actual movie and what it really was about. So kudos to the writer and creator of the movie. I think that this overall was a really good movie. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your perception was of the movie. Let me know what you came up with. What did you think was the reason why they concluded the movie the way that they concluded it? What did the ending of the movie, what was your take on it? What was your feel about it? I'm really interested to know. So leave all of those down in the comments. And guys, if you want to look at this movie, like I said, this is an Amazon movie. You can stream it on Amazon. If you have a Prime account, then I'm pretty sure you get Amazon with that, the Amazon Prime already included with it. And I think that this movie is included with that. So definitely just let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.